Today we're going to install side steps on the sides of a 2009 Honda CR-V, and that's the steps in the package that came in. We're going to start by removing the undercover with 4 clips and 3 bolts holding it on. Here's one of the bolts. This is the first 10mm bolt. Alright, this is the undercover out from underneath the CR-V. I want to show you where the clips are so that you can find them. It's a little bit hard to film underneath the car. So this is one of the clips, the push pins. Push pin, push pin, push pin. And then up here are the bolts. So this is a bolt and this is the front of the vehicle. So 3 bolts in the front and 4 push pins holding it up everywhere else. And on this side, I don't know if you can see this in the video, but there's a faint line here. And they've marked for you with that faint line where you need to cut it out in order for the bracket to fit under the vehicle. Alright, so we're going to cut along this dotted line. And I'm just using tin snips, or metal shears. So that's the cut using tin snips. Alright, you guys know me by now, I won't put a bolt in a vehicle without putting a little bit of blue Loctite on it. And this just helps prevent the bolt from vibrating loose. I put a strip of blue Loctite on all of these bolts. Alright, just for demonstration purposes, I thought it would be a good idea to show you the step outside of the vehicle, because there's these brackets, these guys here, that will attach underneath the truck first with these 2 bolts here at the top. And then you'll put on 4 of these guys, 2 on either side, to attach the step to that bracket, and then 2 bolts that will come up through these holes into the bottom of the vehicle. These are the 2 mounting holes for the bracket on the driver's side. So this is the brackets hanging loosely under the vehicle. It'll make it a little bit easier if you don't tighten these down to get the steps in place, and then tighten them down after you hook the steps up to them. Alright, so this is loosely installed. I've made basically a hinge out of this so that I can line it up with those 2 bolt holes above it, and then we'll send the bolts up through the bracket that's attached to the step. And then we'll tighten everything down and add these last 2 bolts to either side. Alright, this is a shot of the step installed. That's it. And then underneath, these are the last bolts that you tighten down. And that's with the cover in place and cut. And that's the bracket up front. Now we're on the passenger side, and we're going to need to remove these bolts to remove this undercover. There's 3 bolts again and a bunch of clips, and let's get started. This is the passenger side undercover, and you can see there's 3 spots for bolts up front, here, here, and here, and then all these other spots here are clips. So these are clips, clip, clip, and then clip. And here's where we need to cut. I don't know if you can see this, but there's a faint line here, right there. And we'll just cut that out with some shears. Alright, let's give it a snip. And that is the cut with some shears. So we're ready to install the steps and put this back under the vehicle. Alright, now we're going to install these brackets underneath the vehicle with these 13mm bolts. Okay, this is a shot of that bracket loosely installed. And there's the other one loosely installed. And then you take the step and you install it nice and loose too. And put those bolts vertically and horizontally into that other bracket. And into the floor of the CR-V. And that holds it in place. These are the last bolts that you have to tighten down, and these are the ones that hold the step to the bracket. And once you've done that, and you've checked all the tightness of those to 20 foot-pounds, you're done. The very last step is to put this undercover back on, and that's pretty straightforward. 3 bolts and a bunch of push pins. This is it with the steps installed.